Zero Dam will be the first map you play on Delta Force, and the map you probably play the most of. It has the quickest queue times, and you can get in and out quickly. It is a smaller map, easy to navigate, and has some high quality loot on both easy and normal mode. Now, to start off the video, I want to talk about the major points of interest. So the biggest one's going to be right here on Administrative Center. I'm going to mark this number 1. This is the place that has the best loot on Zero Dam. You have crates in the back you can run. You have an east wing and a west wing. Both have high tier loot. There's flight cases in the little warehouse out here, out back on the crates. This vault back here is sometimes open to start the map. This also has an actual vault on this corner over here. It's actually right back here. And that vault can contain anything from gold bars to quantum storages. There's actually a mission you can do over here called Wall Breaker that will open this up if it's not already open to start the map, and you'll be able to open a bunch of safes back here, but be careful, the entire map will know you're doing that. They can push you and you can get trapped down here. But all of that to say, admin contains the most valuable loot on Zero Dam. Okay, now if we go over here to let's mark this yellow, we go to substation and cement plant. These will be 2s. Oh, that's not a 2. That's a 2. That's 2. So cement plant and substation both have high tier loot as well. Again, they can be very busy. You can get into a lot of fights there, but it is worth it because there is some good loot. Cement plant has a couple of flight cases. It can also have a safe. Sometimes a safe will spawn there. Same thing with substation. Sometimes a safe will spawn at substation, but both of these are high traffic areas, but can contain good loot. The last points of interest are going to be Visitor Center and Barracks. These don't really have typically great loot, but safes can spawn there at Barracks and at Visitor Center. It just depends on what spawns of that particular game. It can contain some good loot. There are key cards to use at both places, but typically in terms of tiers of loot, admin, cement, substation, and then Barracks and Visitor in that order. And if we turn on all of the little icons here that show you what is where, you can see admin it has just the most stuff to loot. And every time you loot is another chance for a high tier red item. So you obviously want to go to the places that contain the most loot. And that's why admin stays so busy. Now, admin can also have a boss spawn. His name is Saeed, and he is horrible. He can be very scary to push by yourself. He's not so bad once you know how to fight him, though, but he can head you very quickly and take you down with just a couple of headshots, basically auto aim, and you're dead. So you want to be very careful when you hear Saeed's music playing or when you hear his M249 LMG going off in there. You'll hear it from a distance and he just pops off randomly. It doesn't mean he's shooting at anybody, but he can be very deadly. Now, the good thing about killing Saeed is he typically has very high-end loot on him. For example, in easy mode, you cannot bring purple ammo into the game in easy mode because there is a gear cap. However, if you kill Saeed, he will give you purple ammo every time. You can either use his M249 with that purple ammo, or you can bring in a 5.56 gun, and now you have a leg up versus anybody else in the lobby. You have purple ammo, and literally nobody else does, only you do. So that gives you a massive advantage in terms of PvP. And if you're interested in how ammo works in Delta Force, I actually have a video that you can check out once you're finished up here on my page. All right, so let's talk spawn points on Zero Dam. So the map's going to be split up into east and west, and you'll have 2 out of these 4 spawns every single time without fail. Okay, so that means 2 out of your teams will spawn there and they can rush admin. Typically, they will rush admin every single time. That means you only have 2 more teams spawning over here somewhere along these spawns every single game. So oftentimes you'll spawn here, the team will spawn here, they'll go to the little jump roof right here. There's a little thing they can stand on and they'll actually watch you in your spawn, so be wary of that. And that's the truth for a lot of places along this map. There'll be guys that come here, spawn here. Sometimes these guys down here will wait and camp these guys up here. It just depends who spawns where. So once you learn the spawns, the game will become much easier, but just keep your head on a swivel. Even right in the beginning of the game, you can get into fights very, very quickly on Zero Dam. Okay, and the next part will be the extractions. So there's a bunch of extractions on the map. Sometimes they're only open in certain game modes. So when we look at the actual extracts here, this one is always open. And this one is always open. These are the 2. If you spawn on the west side of the map, you'll always have the east side extraction. If you spawn on the east side, you'll always have the west side extraction. Okay, in easy mode, sometimes this extraction is open. Not always, and sometimes in easy mode, this extraction is open, but not always. The way you'll know is when you go to it, you look at the green smoke on the ground. If there's green smoke, it will be open. You can also do these little tasks along the map, these little recon tasks. There's one here in Visitor Center, one over here in Admin, and they'll actually tell you if these extracts are open, but you have to have a recon player like a Luna in order to know that information. Some of the other ways to extract, you'll have a paid extract here. In easy mode, it'll cost you $10,000. To do that, you basically go up to it, hit a little button to pay for the extract. Takes 10 grand that you'll get from doing missions inside this map, and then you'll wait 30 seconds to get out. You can do the same thing in normals, but it takes 40 grand. So a much more steep price point in normal mode. You'll also have access to this extraction. This is backpackless. You have to actually go here and take your backpack off, which this should be only emergencies. You don't ever want to use this extract unless you have an emergency where you're not going to get out in time. It could be because you lose your backpack and all the loot inside your backpack, you don't get that back. Okay, and then this extraction up here, this is a weight limit extraction. You can only use this extraction if you're less than a certain weight threshold. Now, the last way to get out on Zero Dam is by using these switches. Okay, and if you flip these breakers, what you'll do is you'll activate this Zero Dam elevator. Okay, and now once you flip the switch, you'll have 3 minutes to get there, so you can do it from substation or inside of admin. In easy mode, you can actually flip those switches a bunch. In normal mode, unfortunately, you can only flip it once. So sometimes if a team spawns close enough to these switches, they'll just flip them just to be jerks and make people fight in admin and give people one less way to get out. But just keep an eye on that. Make sure if you're planning on using this elevator to get out, just be sure the switch is still available. So some of the strategies on this map, it really depends if you're looking to loot, depends if you're in easy or normal, and it depends if you want to do PvP. So basically the only reason I play this game is for the PvP. Loot is secondary to me, but by focusing on PvP, I also get a lot of loot. So if I spawn at one of the locations that can rush admin, I typically rush admin. There is a benefit to being there first. There's also a detriment to being there first, because if both teams from the west and the east push admin right off the bat, that means once you finish up with that fight, another team could be pushing you from behind or from the other side that you just beat that team from. So you could get a third party, you might be low on health, and that happens quite a bit. So there's also benefits to rushing admin from other spawns on the map as well if you enjoy PvP, because if you think about it, if a team just finished killing a team, you get there, you kill the team that just won that might be low, might have guys down. Well, you got 6 boxes to loot now, 6 player boxes. And honestly, winning your PvPs is a guaranteed way to get rich quickly. But you know, the challenge is winning those PvPs. You can also lose a lot of money if you keep dying over and over and over. So the other strategy that you have is just to basically loot run. And you can do this in easies just to learn the map, but I would 100% suggest if you're going to loot run, just come in the minimal gear. It's 112,000 to get into Zero Dam on normals. I believe it's 112,000. It's somewhere around that mark, but it's very easy to hit that threshold. Very, very easy to spend 112,000 on gear to get in, but come in as low as you can to meet that threshold. And then you can just basically run the map and loot. So, you know, some of the strategies, you can basically avoid going inside of admin. You can loot the crates and get out. If the vault is open, if the event happens where the vault starts open, you can go into here, you can loot the vault and see if there's any gold bars on the ground. On each side of the vault, you'll have gold bars spawning. Not always, but there was actually a game I went into the other day. We had 4 gold bars on just the left side. And those are very, very profitable items. So keep an eye out for those. Some of the other strats you can do, you can loot run substation. Typically there will be bots in here, kill them quickly. Watch out for Rocket Man spawns over here. He will mess you up in a hurry if his rocket hits you. But there are random loot spawns on the tables upstairs in substation. I've gotten $3, $4, $5 million items just sitting on tables upstairs in substation. Also keep an eye out on the ground downstairs in substation. There's good items like tanks that spawn down there I found on the ground. So just basically keep your eyes peeled whenever you're in a POI. You can also loot run cement plant. Down here on the base of cement, there's a room that has a flight case. You can also go upstairs. There's 2 weapons crates and a flight case upstairs. Again, watch out for Rocket Man. He spawns right here. He will mess you up. One building people typically overlook in cement plant is this little buddy right here. There are gold items that spawn inside on the shelves in this little building, so you can also check that out. But you know, if you want to avoid PvP and loot run, just avoid where you hear the shots coming from. If you hear shots, go to a different POI, or you can go hide, wait, and loot whatever the scraps are. You can also wait for fights. If you hear two teams fighting, you can wait for the fight to be over with and go loot the scraps off the dead bodies once that fight is done. But there's, you know, a million ways to make money on Zero Dam. That's just a couple of the strategies. And one thing I didn't cover is the underground aspect of this map. One thing they added this past season was there's actually entrances that will take you underground under the map. These entrances are here, here, and then they come up over in admin as well. But basically you can go underneath the map to get to these different locations to avoid potential PvP. Now you can obviously PvP underground as well, but it's very rare that you'll encounter another team underneath the map. So the way this goes is cement goes here, this connects to here, so you can basically connect all three of these spots here. But then you also can go from here underground up into admin, and there's a jump down in admin. Now be very careful because this can be loud, and you can warn teams if you are using the jump down. They'll hear your player drop. It's very loud. There's also zip lines that can create some noise under the ground as well that players can hear, so they might know you're coming if you take the underground to admin, so just keep that in mind. As far as the key cards go, I mentioned it earlier, in admin there is some locked rooms. Over in visitor, subs, and basically every POI has key cards that you can use to get into these locations and get extra loot. I'll say this, it used to be a lot more lucrative in Zero Dam and really across all of Delta Force maps, but the key cards have gotten so insanely expensive. We got some inflation happening in the market in the game, so typically I found that the key cards are not worth it right now to actually purchase. If you find one, you can either sell it or you can hold on to it and use it. But one thing that's happening right now that's kind of cool in terms of Zero Dam is that there's an event going on. This is temporary, this won't be forever, but you can kill Saeed and he typically will have a Saeed black card on him. You can also loot jackets around the map and other bags, other lootable items, and they'll sometimes also contain his black card. But that black card will give you one use on any locked door on the map. So you want to use that usually only on the manager's office over here in admin or the tech room over here in substation. Those are your two premier keycard rooms on Zero Dam. This one over in admin is the best. It gives you 2 safes, a laptop, and a handful of other items to loot. This is where you'll find the best loot in all of admin and all of Zero Dam typically. This one over here will give you 1 safe, a couple of jackets, and a couple of servers to loot. So also very good. You know, and typically I would try to get to managers first. So if you can't get to manager's room over in admin, I'll go to substation to loot. But you'll find that these rooms sometimes are already open by the time you get there, just because these cards are somewhat common. There's usually a few of them scattered around the map, so players will find them and use them. So make sure you get there quickly if you can once you find one. But again, that event is just temporary. Once this event is over, you'll go back to having these expensive key cards, and just be wary of the loot value may not match the actual price of the key card. You'll be lucky sometimes to even just break even on the price of that key card. Now, if you guys found any value out of this video, I do appreciate the follows, the likes, the subs, all that fun stuff. Helps me get out there into the algorithm and get out there into the world. And all that said, I wish you all the best of luck out there. I'll catch you later.